Number 15. Obey the Walrus. This video obtained its fame a while back from the confusing and creepy vibe it radiates. It's a very old video, and the quality shows that. It features very creepy and childish music that plays over footage of a transvestite wearing a pink dress and walking around in a distorted manner. Towards the end, we get a zoom in of the person's expressionless face before we are faced with a photo of a walrus. The video originally surfaced with the same title in a Spanish language. People began creating reaction videos, which usually went one of two ways. Either they laughed uncontrollably, or they were frozen with fear. The video soon came with a myth that it was created by a Latin American cult known as La Morsa, aka the Walrus, and it is said that bad things would happen after watching the video. Again, there has been research put into this video that found it was actually just footage used from the actor's life documentary titled The Goddess Bunny. The actor is named Johnny Baima, and he suffers from polio. He has spoken about going through a lot of sexual abuse as a child, and irrelevantly becoming a drag queen model. Chances are that someone just took footage from his film, made it creepy or funny depending how you see it, and posted it for attention. As for the differing feelings that come alongside this video, it's actually very psychological. The color scheme that the video is set in, the tune of music, and the unknowingness of what is happening tampers with the way our brain processes things and leads to different people having different reactions. No matter the truth behind this video, the fear that it pulls out of some people is very, very real. Number 14. I feel fantastic. Yet another viral and terrifying video that graced YouTube. This one is a blonde robot in the middle of what is probably a living room, singing a strange and high-pitched song that includes the lyrics, "I feel fantastic," and to top off the creep factor, "Please leave, run, run, run." The robot does change positions a few times, and towards the end, she's even in a new outfit. It should be mentioned that midway through the strange music video, there's a random shot of the backyard. The earliest upload of this was in 2009. Many people began saying that the robot was created by a serial killer, as some form of statue bride. The shot to the backyard was allegedly a shot of where the killer buried his victims, and the things the robot sings are to reflect what the killer wishes his victims would have said while being murdered. This mostly came about because the description on the video tells about the story in Greek mythology of Pygmalion, a man who made a statue bride because he was so fed up with the impure women that surrounded him. However, the true story behind this strange singing robot is actually a lot less creepy. Well, it's still kind of weird. This was all actually a music project done by John Bergeron. Back in 2004, he built this android which he named Tara, and programmed her to sing songs that he wrote and recorded. He continued to sell the videos online, so this probably came from someone who was crazy enough to make a purchase, as there has never been proof of him having a YouTube account. This was actually a brilliant idea that wound up being horribly executed. As for the strange cutscene to the backyard, it's still unexplained, but it was most likely just an attempt to add some cinematic beauty to the video. Although the page cannot be found now, there has been proof that the music videos were sold back in the early days of the site. Considering there has been no activity from Bergeron since 2004, we can live out the rest of our lives safely knowing there will be no more Terra videos. Number 13. Agamemnon Counterpart. This video basically starts out as confusing, but you can't stop watching. Even as you stare at the scream in horror and disbelief, you probably won't stop it. The video starts out with a crummy old school VHS warning, which is followed by on-screen text that reads, "A video cassette was found in a pile of rubble on the ruins of a certain blue planet. What you are about to witness will not be the contents of the aforementioned cassette. This is an entirely different recording, which is shown next to what could be the intro to a very low-budget children's show, as it features cartoon characters, bright colors, and displays the title, "Let's Make a New Friend." However, not long into the video, screaming begins. Like uncontrollable, someone is about to get murdered type screaming. We see a few more trippy shots, with tons more screaming and overly happy background music, and the video ends. Rumors immediately began spreading that the video is actually once footage from a popular Japanese rape murder case. Apparently, the cartoon footage covered up the video, but not the audio. However, when you look at the description of the original posting, it's stated, "Drawings by Jason Kovac, aka Dave, from 2001, D2K1. Research leads to DK21, meaning Destination Imagination 2001. From there we can find that this video was a strange art project that got uploaded in 2006. Looking even deeper has exposed that the audio and screaming are both from vintage movies. So the rape murder theory is completely false. As for the title, or the meaning behind the video, there's not one. Jason Kovac has yet to release any information about its confusing title or complex meaning. Just take a look. Maybe you'll be able to find some deep and powerful meaning within these terrifying screams. Number 12. Username 666. This popular video is based on an even more popular creepypasta. It's probably been seen by many. It involves a YouTube channel by the name of Username 666. The person controlling the computer finds that the account has been suspended. Then they go on to refresh about 50 times. Things start to become redder and redder, and the majority of the text becomes 666. One more refresh leads to the account with videos of twisting and disturbing babies, as well as a woman drowning. This video is obviously created solely for the creepypasta, and it's not real whatsoever. If you look up the channel though, it does say it has been suspended. This implies that the channel did exist at one point. While it could have been a demonic and truly freaky account, there's no proof for that. That aside, however, the thought is still terrifying. Plus, there are several softwares and programs that can be used to replicate this effect for scaring friends, or, you know, whatever you would need that for. Take a look. Number 11. Cursed Kleenex commercial. The following ad for tissues is creepier than it needs to be. As you will see, there is a small child that seems to have their body painted a dark orange. The child is sporting green hair and some sort of magical horn. Meanwhile, the woman next to the child, possibly a mother, makes loving gestures towards the child before letting a tissue fly into the air. All the while, this creepy slow song is playing in the back. Kleenex released this commercial in mid-1986, and it immediately received negative feedback. People claimed that the song in the background was a Russian demonic ritual chant that sang about dying. There were also numerous claims that the commercial would change depending on what time of day it was shown. For example, in the afternoon, it would be overall normal, but if it ever aired past midnight, it was distorted and even more terrifying. After becoming fed up with complaints, Kleenex took the commercial down and it was never aired again. However, that didn't stop it from eventually being spread all over the world of YouTube. People began uploading and sharing and even posting videos of themselves watching the commercial at midnight to show how distorted it really became.
It's a fine day, people open windows, leave their houses just for a short while. They walk by the grass and they look at the grass, they look at the grass. It's going to be a good night.
Once all of this came about, rumors began that all of those involved in creating the commercial died in some freak way. Everyone from the cameraman to the 2 actors. It was even said that anyone who simply watched the commercial would die. None of it was true though. The actress, Kiko Matsuzaka, has been proven to still be alive, and many of the YouTube videos that were posted past midnight were also proven to have been edited or faked in some fashion. Furthermore, the song in the background isn't Russian at all. It's a song in English by Jane and Barton.
It's a fine day, people open windows, they leave their houses just for a short while. The grass, and they look at the grass, they look at the sky. It's going to be a fine night tonight, it's going to be a fine day tomorrow.
Although most of these things have been debunked, watching this commercial is still pretty creepy. It gives off a weird vibe that makes it pretty easy to understand why people created such strange rumors. The commercial is sure to be feeling, and most people were probably just looking for some way to explain it. Number 10. There is nothing. This is possibly one of the most scary videos on the list, depending on your own personal tastes. We see some young girl, or possibly doll, sitting at a dinner room table. A bowl sits in front of her, and there's a fire behind her through the window. Her stare is so strong and creepy that you almost can't look at her while she stares straight into your soul. The first time she speaks, you can't really make out what she says. The camera zooms out and she drops her face into the bowl. When she picks her head back up to speak again, she clearly says, "There is nothing."
There is nothing.
The video was created by filmmaker and artist David B. Earl. He said that he created the very short film in a way that makes it possible to loop the video over and over again without any clue of where it begins and ends. According to Earl, the piece was inspired by the personal paradoxical desire for empirical proof that there is nothing on the other side of life. Number 9. Performance Olivier de Sagazon. So this video starts out with a pretty average looking guy having a seat in front of a dark gray background. He doesn't say much at first. He just starts taking his clothes off and bathing himself in clay, which he paints over and layers on multiple times. He does begin saying things later in the video in a seemingly exhausted voice. He also makes disturbing noises. As he layers on the clay and paint and cuts eye holes and a mouth opening for himself, things become pretty disturbing. As the video goes on, things honestly just get worse and worse. There's almost a sense of panic created as you question what is going on and what terrible thing is going to happen next. The video was at one point associated with the creepypasta titled Gateway of the Mind, a story that explains how a group of scientists cut off all of a man's senses, after which he essentially loses his mind. This video doesn't really match up well with that creepypasta though, considering the different time periods and general lack of similarity. The shocking video is actually an art project of the man mentioned in the title. Either way, coming across something like this will probably cause you to not sleep for several days until you've finished extensive research on this matter. Number 8. The Wyoming Incident. This is a video collected from November 1987. Two news stations had their broadcasts interrupted by a hacker. The screen displays a message titled Special Presentation. It continues on with clips of heads and grayscale and more disturbing and personal messages. Number 7. My dead great-grandma's coffin in my own backyard. There's not much to be said about this video that can't be seen. To summarize things, this man posts a video explaining that his great-grandmother's burial site could no longer keep up with the grounds work for her casket. This man, being the only living relative, offers to take the casket off their hands. Since he doesn't have anywhere else to put it, he just holds the casket in his backyard. Everything seems pretty reasonable, and although it's not something most of us would do, it does seem to make more sense than what follows. The man goes on to open the casket and give a full view of the corpse. He also leans in to peck his great-grandma on the lips. Actually, he does more than peck her on the lips. He kisses her old decayed corpse multiple times. Number 6. K-Fee car commercial. This is probably one of the most popular jump scare videos ever. It's been viewed about 3 million times on most of the channels that have uploaded it. On that same note, it has been uploaded by numerous channels and to numerous pages, not to mention all the reaction videos that are circulating out there. Well, the video itself is pretty terrifying. It's nothing more than a well-played ad. It features a beautiful scenic view of a car traveling through a very bountiful setting. Everything seems all nice and calm until this gruesome and truly nightmare-fueled ghost pops out of nowhere, extremely close to the camera, and scares the living shit out of whoever is watching. Even those that have seen the video thousands of times say it still gets them. After the ghost exits the screen, a message displays in German that translates roughly to, "You've never been so awake." This is to stimulate the effect that is generated from the company's energy drink. Number 5. Pretty Woman. This video is just of a man lip-syncing along to the popular song Pretty Woman. Although he is pretty creepy, it doesn't seem that bad. It's just a weird old man singing to a song in a way that makes you feel pretty uncomfortable. However, the backstory can change the feel of this video entirely. The singer's real name is Edward Muscare, and he's actually a real-life registered sex offender. So that instinct of being slightly violated while watching this video was actually very plausible. As part of his probation, Muscare was not allowed to use the internet, and after this video, he was put back in jail for 5 years, where he died from lung cancer. Just a friendly reminder to always go with your gut feeling about creepy old dudes.
Bye-bye.
Fatal diving accident. I'm sure everyone has had the issue of watching something dramatic where someone begins to drown and you almost feel as if you can't breathe either. Maybe that's what makes this video so scary. Watching the diver delve deeper and deeper into the ocean, all while hearing him suffocate, creates a form of sympathetic panic. This particular diver was doing a bounce dive, a form of diving where you sink to the bottom and use the sea floor to bounce up. This was being done in a place called the Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt, which is very well known for killing inexperienced divers. His death was caused by a series of mistakes. He was diving using AIR, a form of tanked oxygen that is 78% nitrogen, which becomes intoxicating at low pressures. It should never be used below 190 feet because of the oxygen toxicity, and is rarely used below 130 feet anyways. By 90 feet into the water, The diver was basically drunk. Add that information to the fact that he was only using one tank. He might as well have dived with no tank at all. He was also overweighted with equipment, so he had to completely abandon his tank. Furthermore, as if all of this wasn't enough to lead to his death, he was ascending to the bottom completely alone, meaning no one was there to pull him back up or stop him from falling. So the diver's final death wasn't as mystical as many viewers originally thought, and it was actually just irresponsible diving. A combination of nitrogen neurosis, oxygen toxicity, a single tank, improper gas mix, and overweighting killed him. Number 3. Girl goes psycho during makeup tutorial. One of YouTube's most viewed categories is tutorials. People from all over the web flock to get information on how to change a light bulb, and especially on how to apply makeup. So when this video popped up in 2014, it's just a young woman sitting in front of a camera explaining a makeup process. Although the left half of the screen does lead to a few questions, nothing could prepare you for when she begins beating her head onto the table.
So we're gonna just start here.
It's a truly gory scene, and you're left wondering what the hell happened. She just seemed to have snapped at some point. Buzz began immediately over this video. The description of the tutorial read, "This video was sent to me anonymously. I do not have any information beyond that. It is for you to decide on your own whether it is real or fake." After some investigation, and thanks to tweets from the actress Nakaya Seacrest, it wasn't long before the truth came out. This was a promo video made for a film the uploader was creating. You can check it out at the15experience.com. Number 2. Paris Catacombs Lost Footage. The Paris Catacombs is a popular and terrifying site found beneath the streets of Paris, France that is pretty ancient. It's an underground system that has also been seen as a cemetery, as it is filled with millions of human remains. The location is allegedly cursed. It is illegal to enter, and the Paris government has shut down every entrance that has been found. This video usually only can be found in the form of an excerpt from a documentary. It is footage of a man exploring the catacombs before strange and horrifying things happen. In the video, we see things from a first-person point of view as the man navigates through the catacombs. He shows arrows painted on the ground, symbols and human-like figures painted on the walls, and entire rooms filled with bones. The man begins to pick up speed and run faster and faster, with less and less purpose. He seems to be running from something, with no idea of where he's actually going. It's likely, however, he was just in a state of panic. The camera eventually stops abruptly, and when it begins filming again, it is laying on its side, and we actually see a splash of water and hear the man panic.
And all of a sudden,
this location is already as scary as it gets, especially for those that are claustrophobic, not to mention that the tunnels stretch for about 400 miles. And most of the passages lead to even lower levels, meaning it's very easy to get lost. This man was never found. Number 1. Shay St. John Hand Thing. This truly disturbing video comes from an entire channel dedicated to the main character featured. In this video, we are greeted with someone at the front door who appears to be wearing a blonde wig and part of a latex mask. The character asks another,
Shay, are you still doing that hand thing? I heard you're doing the hand thing today. God, what is that?
The camera then shows a person wearing something very similar, doing some strange hand thing with fake wooden arms. The hand thing isn't entirely freaky on its own, but this character in general is really disturbing and confusing. Plus, the wooden hands being used adds an extra dash of fear. This is one of many truly frightening videos from a character named Shay St. John, and there's even a website dedicated to her. Yes, her. The page dedicated to her is located at shaystjohn.net and isn't really much help to figuring out the gist of everything. However, it does help to build this air of confusion and a mentally ill individual. The page is packed full of unexplainable and terrifying pictures. If you ever were to take the time to look into Shay, you'd probably be scarred for life. Even getting down to the story behind it all remains baffling. Shay was created by an artistic director named Eric Fournier. The story is that Shay was a model, but she got into a devastating car accident that left her disfigured and mentally unstable. In mourning of her beauty, she reconstructed a face and body for herself made out of mannequin parts, and she now lives in this delusion that she is still beautiful, famous, and rich, despite the majority of videos being shot in a rather trashy location. The reasoning behind this entire project was to highlight the artificial essence that can be brought from fame and wealth. On a more unfortunate note, Eric Fournier died at the age of 42 from either a car accident or reasons related to alcoholism. Well, this is a sad end to a creative take on art. At least we have seen the last of Shay.